What's good? What's good? We're back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, sport events, and much, much more. Today, I'm going to react to a video of a idiotic professor gives a student a zero on the assignment because they use biological facts, like terms like biological men and biological women. So apparently, you can get a higher grade if you lie on your report instead of tell the truth nowadays. And apparently, lying is evil and racist. Before we get into that, though, I want to give you a word from promopalace.biz.
Marketing and promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
That's right. You heard the beautiful lady. If you need online marketing promotions, please go to promopalace.biz. You see it scrolling below. Get marketing and promotions at promopalace.biz. Let's get into it. Professor gives a student a zero grade on their report because they use terms like biological men and biological women. I mean, what else are you supposed to fucking use? But let's get into it.
On a story that I talked about probably maybe a month or two ago about a student that took to the internet to complain about a teacher giving her a zero on her assignment because she used biological facts in her essay, right? And again, the teacher did not like that very much.
There was a student at the University of Cincinnati. She was taking a class on gender studies, and when she handed a paper in, her professor failed her because she used an exclusionary term. Watch.
I got a zero on a project proposal in my class because I used the term biological women, which is apparently not allowed anymore.
Oh, what the fuck else are you supposed to use? Fake women, make-believe women, imaginary women, non-realistic women, imaginary women. I mean, what the fuck else is it supposed to be? Like, this is one thing in society that I will never fucking accept. This imaginary made up bullshit of a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man, or a boy could be a girl and a girl could be a boy. People need to stop watching fucking movies. They need to stop watching too many fucking movies if this is how your brain comes out. Mushy as hell. Zero common sense, zero common knowledge. Until I see transgender animals, I will never accept this shit because I'm a laws of nature guy.
She even said it was a good project proposal, but I got a zero because I used this term and it's exclusionary and not allowed anymore.
So basically, she got a zero for telling the truth, for being honest. Like, we're living in a scumbag piece of shit society where people value telling lies and being dishonest more than telling the truth and being dishonest. I mean, that's some scumbag piece of shit, pathetic, weak-minded mindsets that these motherfuckers have, man. I tell you.
I 100% know that this is like the most biased grade ever because my project is about transgenders competing in biological women's sports.
Of course it was.
How am I supposed to do my final project if I can't use the word biological women? But that's what my project is about.
A student's writing a paper about men competing in women's sports, and a professor gave her a zero because she's not allowed to use the word biological woman. Well, we reached out.
So she's supposed to use imaginary, make believe, and fake woman. Apparently, I mean, look, man. I understand some words have multiple meanings, but this idea that we're just gonna fucking change the definition of every single fucking word in society, that's what I think.
Out to the university and they say they're looking into it. So what happened here? The student who was failed, Olivia Krolchek, joins me now. So Olivia, did the professor explain why you couldn't use the term biological woman?
Yes, she actually, through an exchange of emails, told me that using the term contributed to TERF ideology, so trans exclusionary radical feminism, which I believe is the only real feminism. And she said it was exclusionary and contributed to heteronormativity.
Well, we don't have to include make-believe, imaginary, made-up bullshit into reality. And, you know, society can try to include it all they want. But guess what? Reality itself is not going to include make-believe, imaginary, made-up bullshit. This shit just really pisses me off, man. I mean, this chick got a 0 for telling the fucking truth, for being fucking dishonest, for being honest. My bad, for being honest. So I guess if she would have told lies and been totally dishonest, she would have got a fucking 100. What a fucking backwards, ass backwards mindset these fucking people have.
Okay, you said a lot of things that I didn't understand. Take me through this step by step.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
You're saying a paper in a college class that only this professor is going to read, you and the professor, just the fact that it's written and no one else has read it besides 2 people is going to offend the entire trans community?
Get the fuck out of here, man. I mean, what? How the fuck is it going to offend the entire trans community if only one motherfucker is going to read it that's not even part of the fucking trans community? This is some of the biggest horseshit and bullshit I've ever heard, man. Let's keep it moving.
Apparently, because in her syllabus it says I'm allowed to share my opinions as long as they don't cause harm to my classmates. But no one in my class was going to be reading my paper unless she was going to share it without my permission.
Are trans women or trans men actually offended by the phrase biological women?
Apparently so, and I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't think they are, and I'm just going to go.
Yeah, you know, I'm with Jesse on this. We don't know that they are offended. I think, you know what the problem is going on now? You got people speaking for other people now. You got non-gay people speaking for gay people. You got non-transgender people speaking for transgender people. You got non-black people speaking for black people. I mean, what the fuck are we doing here?
Go out on a limb and speak for all trans men and women and say you're not offended by that phrase. Have you noticed this professor pushing ideology on the rest of the class?
Not that I've noticed. It's an online class, so I haven't noticed this, but I have had a...
Did she just say this is an online fucking class? She's not even in a fucking classroom with people, and they're worried about people getting offended for reading a paper, for getting offended for a paper that they're never even gonna fucking read and not even in the same fucking classroom. I just want to fucking snatch my hat off and just sling it right now. This shit makes me want to pull my fucking hair out. This is such horseshit and bullshit. Let's keep it moving.
Situation previously in a class, in a discussion, I had said that it's not okay to generalize and say that all white men are privileged, and she came back and said that it is important to recognize that fact.
All white men are privileged.
Bullshit. That is not a fucking fact. Nobody helped me build my fucking business. Not one single motherfucker on this planet helped me build my business. I built my business from ground up by my motherfucking self. I applied common sense, common knowledge, and fucking ambition to my fucking business. And I've been working for myself for the last 10 or more years. And this idea is because I was privileged. No, anybody on the fucking planet could have did what the fuck I did. But they didn't. You know why? Because they didn't have the fucking ambition and determination. And they didn't fucking do it. Plain and simple, man. Privilege, man. Like, nobody put a single dollar. I didn't get no fucking loan from the fucking bank. Nobody put no fucking time and energy to help me build this business. I built this shit by myself. Privilege, man. How about ambition?
You can't argue with that just because they're white men. I think some white men might argue differently.
I agree. I agree.
Have you taken this up with the dean?
You know what? I just met with someone this morning, and a new professor is grading my work, and a file is being sent to the dean, and they're going to look at it. I don't know if they're going to do anything, but
of course they're not going to do anything. These motherfuckers, I mean, you know the problem is nowadays? Everybody wants to play fucking politics. When, you know, the job of a college is to provide a high quality education, not fucking play politics, identity politics and virtue signaling and all this bullshit that is so divisive. It just divides the fucking country further and further and further and further.
see.
So how have you been able to work around these restrictions? You're writing a paper. It's about men competing in women's sports, and you're not allowed to use the phrase biological women. How are you going to get around that, Olivia?
You know what? I spoke with someone in like the gender equity group at the school, and we pretty much discussed that I would do my project with the original proposal, and I just submitted it a few days ago with my...
Let me tell you what they're really mad about. They're not mad that she's using the term biological woman. They're mad that her shit is titled Men Competing in Sports, because they're trying to say these are not men, that they're women. And anybody identifies as a woman can be a woman. You know what they're not saying? Anybody identifies as a man can be a man, because men ain't having that shit. We ain't having this shit. We ain't having you redefining what the fuck a man is, even though they're trying to change everything about a man. Toxic masculinity and all these fucking bullshit terms. You know, all it is just trying to change the nature of a man, of what makes a fucking man a man. That's the only way they can make their narrative fit. This make-believe imaginary narrative can only fit if they totally change men. They stop men from being men, you know, demasculate us and turn us into little bitches.
original idea.
Oh, so you're saying the Gender Equity Council said even this professor's too cuckoo. And okay, good.
Of course.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? You have a professor who's definitely an authoritarian, right? Leftist.
Yeah.
Give this girl a 0 on an assignment simply because she used the term biological woman when discussing men and women competing against each other in sports.
Which is facts, which is truth. Let's keep it moving.
This is par for the course when it comes to the left, right? They hate free speech. Okay, so now the University of Cincinnati has formally reprimanded this professor over that. So let's actually read about it, because as you can see here, right, this is what the professor looks like. Is anybody surprised? Okay.
You know, I know they say you can't judge a book by its cover. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know, you could damn near tell these woke motherfuckers as soon as you see them. And you know, like, it's just like sagging pants. Like, I don't respect anybody that sags pants. So this idea I'm not supposed to judge you because of the way you dress or your appearance or things of that nature. No, that's part for the course, man. You know, if you look like, if you carry yourself in a non-respectful manner, why the fuck would I respect you? And if you look crazy, why the fuck would I not think you crazy? You
Is
can tell,
anybody
yeah.
surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. When seeing this picture, I could definitely tell that this bitch is woke.
That this is the woke revolutionary that we're dealing with? Nobody should be. So let's read about it. The University of Cincinnati women's gender studies professor has been ordered to complete free speech training after she failed a student for referring to non-trans female athletes as biological women, according to a report. All right, so
And you know what? It's only feminists and woke women that are enabling this shit. And it's gonna come to bite them in the ass. It's gonna come to bite them in the ass because if they keep allowing biological men to compete in women's sports, 5 or 10 years from now, every female's sports record will be held by biological men. It will be. And you know, this whole thing is so one-sided. This whole argument is so one-sided because biological men can compete with women in sports. But you know what you'll never ever see? Unless they bring in diversity inclusion, you'll never see a biological woman competing with biological men in professional sports. Not in my fucking lifetime will it ever fucking happen.
here's the thing. Um, I agree. This professor definitely needs free speech training, but they should
Yeah.
also be fired. Okay, they should be fired because um, the fact that this professor
They should be fired because they graded a paper based on their political beliefs and their ideologies and their views, which is bias. You know, they graded it off of their biased views. And it's not even about free speech, it's about telling facts, telling the fucking truth here.
decided to grade based off her political ideology and whether or not people agree with her political ideology tells me that she's not qualified to be a professor, and I wouldn't trust her to grade anybody else's paper. She's already shown that she's willing to weaponize her position as a professor to punish students who disagree with her politically. She should be fired for this. Okay, she should be fired because I mean clearly she's guilty, but you know, in my opinion, this is a slap on the wrist.
And it is, and people keep saying, oh, this stuff ain't happening in schools. This stuff ain't happening in schools. Stop it. Stop it. We got plenty enough videos and footage. And now even California's brought in LGBTQ curriculums. Like, that's what you're really asking for. It's one thing to have these rogue teachers out here going rogue, but once you start bringing in curriculums, I don't want to hear you bitching and complaining and talking about, oh, conservatives are recruiting Muslims to push back on transgenderism. Are you that fucking stupid and that fucking dumb? Like, like Muslims would ever fucking accept transgenderism? Get the fuck out of it. You have no common sense and no common knowledge whatsoever if you think that.
Adjunct instructor Melanie Nipper was formally reprimanded for giving student Olivia Krochek 0 out of 20 points on her women's gender studies in pop culture final project for using what the teacher called the quote exclusionary term, the Cincinnati Enquirer reported. Guys, think about this, bruh. Think about this. There's a women's gender studies in pop culture class, right? They have a whole class on women's gender studies.
Yeah, you know, I only thought women had one fucking gender, but you know, apparently you can make one up every day of the fucking week now. Women's genders. It's the dumbest shit ever.
Pop culture. What is the ROI on this? Okay, what is the return on investment for this? Okay,
It's probably the return on investment on this is probably the same grade that the woke teacher gave the fucking student for using actual realistic factual terms like biological women.
hey, what is it? Somebody tell me what's the return on investment for society? I don't understand. I really don't. I really don't. This is why college is so expensive.
Yeah, what fucking job are you gonna get talking about women's genders in pop culture. There's only one fucking gender, you jackasses.
It's because you have classes like this. This teacher, let's keep one. She should be employed. Okay, take out the fact that she's grading based off her politics. Take that out of it. Just based on the fact that this is the class that she's teaching, she shouldn't be employed, bro. We shouldn't have this. Okay, this is ridiculous. Kolchak took to Twitter in May to share her outrage and confusion in a video that went viral, prompted a response from the university.
Of course she did. Of course she was outraged because these people, you know, when they can't get their fucking way, they throw in a fucking hissy fit and get their panties in a fucking bunch. You know, when somebody doesn't fucking agree with them, all hell has to break loose.
University weeks later. Quote, please note that this is to be considered a formal reprimand for your actions. A copy of this letter will be placed in your permanent records, the university told Nipper, according to the June 14th document obtained by the Inquirer. Quote, it is also understood that any other violations of UC policy may be subject to further disciplinary actions up to and including termination. You are reminded that as an unrepresented, unclassified, quote, at-will employee, your employment may be terminated with or without cause. Okay, so they're basically warning her that, hey, if you keep this up, then you're going to be fired. But again, I think that his professor should have been fired because clearly she's guilty. And again, who's to say how many other students have suffered because of this? Now, it's funny.
That's the thing. You think this was the first time she's done this shit? No.
Because think about this. If this was in any other context, right? Let's say that a professor was found guilty of using racial bias when it comes to grading black students in their work. Okay, he was giving black students lower grades because they're black, right? Do you think that the professor would give them a slap on the wrist with a little training course and give them a warning? No, that professor would be fired on the spot. Same thing should happen this.
He's right. If that was the situation and that was the details of it, they would have fired the shit out of her. You know, and this shit just really reeks me. I mean, she got a 0 for speaking facts, telling the truth.
Professor, but because this professor is woke, I'm assuming that they're getting a pass. In addition to completing training about UC's free speech policy, she must also submit her future syllabi for the upcoming school year for approval. In contesting the discipline, she wrote that her restriction on harmful speech was necessary to ensure a safe learning environment in the course and for the pedagogical purpose of teaching introductory WGSS theory, the newspaper reported.
You know what? This idea that saying the term biological woman is harmful is some fucking horseshit. It's bullshit. You're just sensitive. There's nothing fucking harmful about it. Yeah, man. You know the problem with this shit is people enable this fucking non-realistic, imaginary, make-believe behavior. They enable it. You know, and I pretty much heard enough, man. This is straight up bias grading. They should have fired the bitch. Yeah, I'm with Greg Foreman. You can instantly tell she was woke. And what fucking other terms are people supposed to use besides biological women? Make believe, imaginary, fake women? Yeah, this is crazy. So for all you people that say they're not trying to indoctrinate people in schools, they're not trying to force ideologies on people in schools, not trying to force their views on people in schools, it's horseshit. It's bullshit. Yes, they are. And it's just unacceptable, man. You don't get to force views and ideologies on people. You know, they do have a choice. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast. And this was another batshit crazy story, and I'm out.